Not your fault at all. All right, so we are not on YouTube Live, but we are recording by Zoom.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody. Minor delay, we're all good. We're not perfect, but we're good, so we're gonna charge ahead. I'd like to call the meeting to order and welcome everybody, as is our custom. And for Carol's benefit, who is at home, well, not at home, is in Oakville. She has called in with us here. Can we go around the table? And Diana, can we start with you?
Diane Gerhart. Carrie Tuckett. Lisa Vezuela. Sandra Hollingsworth.
Don McConnell?
Diane Morale.
Carla Monte. Chrissy Wiener. Sierra Sabo.
Derek Lavalley, civic member and chair of the site plan.
And Carol, can you hear us okay?
I can hear you, but it sounds a little bit tinny.
Okay, I think it's the sides of the room.
Okay.
Well, charging, we're just gonna move
I am
ahead.
I'm not
Carol?
considered Carol Magnan committee member anymore. I'm considered Carol Magnan and Osmond committee members.
Well, we'd like to welcome Osmond to the meeting. That's great. We're looking forward to meeting you, Osmond, in person. Carol, if you do need somebody to repeat something, just speak up. We are in a very large room today.
Okay.
And, given that, has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes from our last meeting? If so, can we have a mover and a seconder to approve those? Derek, moved by Derek, seconded by Diana. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And as is our requirement, we do have to ask if anyone has a declaration of a conflict of interest. You only have a conflict of interest if you have a pecuniary interest or benefit to be gained by some decision the committee will make here today. You are a member of your immediate family. And I suspect we have none, so we're gonna move right ahead on to new business. Diane, can I turn this part of the meeting over to you?
Sure. There's a lot of things going on at the accessibility office. And this was one that happened through the course of the summer. Enabling Accessibility Fund, I probably should have reported on that at the last meeting, but it slipped my mind. And it's for the Manzo Park updates. Originally, the application was thought, I think it's $120,000 was the max funding for that. And we had hoped we would have enough means to be able to build an addition for the Manzo Park so that we can have fully universal washroom, adult change table. But it just wasn't possible given the time frame. There needs to be some engineering work done. So we went to Plan B, given the time frames. And Plan B was to do some accessibility upgrades with what's already there. So the Manzo Park and splash pad and pool area, what was applied for is a ramp into the pool, because currently it isn't accessible to anyone with a mobility disability. So it would be by means of a ramp. Widening the pool deck around the pool, because it is fairly narrow. Two people can pass each other, but there might not be enough space for someone in a mobility device and or a person walking. So we needed a wider pool deck. It would also include updated paved pathways. There's quite a few paved pathways in that park that are in very good shape, but there are a couple that are in poor shape. They've got some bumps and some holes through them. As well, there is a tennis court on site and a very old rundown bocce court. The bocce court will be updated and will be fully accessible, so should anyone want to play bocce that has a mobility device, they can also participate. There will be paths of travel to the bocce court as well as to the tennis courts. There will be a new paved pathway to the playground, and there will be a very small but accessible playground with full rubber surfacing underneath that park as well. It's a kind of a small park. I think there's swings and a small kind of universal kind of climbing thing. So there will be some updated park equipment plus some good paths of travel. So that is the application. That was done this summer between Virginia and myself, and we don't know the results of that yet. But hopefully that will be coming out soon and we can work on that next spring. So that is the information on that one.
Just out of curiosity, the tennis court that's there, are they redoing the tennis court?
No.
It'll still be a tennis court.
It will still be a tennis court, and I think, I didn't go to really see up close the tennis court, but it looked like it was still in quite usable shape.
Good stuff. Thank you, and we're getting all that for $120,000.
Well, $128,000, and I forget what the percentage is that will need to come from the city for that. I don't know if it was a 25%, 75%, or, I don't remember.
And you can do that in kind with labor,
Okay,
so
okay,
it depends, but usually it's 75-25 or 80-20, or it just depends.
right, and I was thinking 75-25 was the split.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Did you want to move on to the attached letter for green and inclusive community building grant application for the John Road Center?
Yes, so that one is due for, the application is due on October 16th. And it's green and inclusive, it's a federal application. So the green is a must part of the application. The inclusive is you get bonus points if it's also accessible.
Yeah.
So Emily Cormier, who is the city's sustainability coordinator, has some rather large plans for some green infrastructure that will be included on that grant. And from the accessibility point of view, we will be applying for funding for the accessible bleachers for the John Rhodes Arena, the one that does not have any accessible seating areas. That will be a kind of a modular type elevated platform that will be accessible. It'll be at the end of the arena. And it will be a large open area, and then we'll bring in some portable seats, kind of like what we have here that we're using today, for any companion seating. So there'll be lots of room for probably up to about 6 people or maybe more with mobility devices for the viewing area. So that's the inclusive component of the grant. And at our last meeting, we had approved the portion to come out of the barrier removal funds.
Can I, Mr. Chair, to Diane, I just want to let people know that I've been over to that site and I have been on that ramp that they currently have. That ramp is so rickety, so not nice for wheelchairs, that it needs to be done. So hopefully we can get it passed and it will be done properly, because all we see is the wood cutter at any day. So that those ramps are. And it's only 2 ramps, so one person at a time can only see part of the game, and the glass has to be lowered, and so if we put the bleachers in, it'll be on a raised, floor. And, we won't have to lower any of the arena glass.
Yeah, the people who attend the Thunderbirds games that have mobility devices that wanna watch the games have had a really poor time watching games. And I think as a result, there aren't many people with mobility devices that attend to watch Thunderbird games anymore. Cause it's such a poor viewing experience. So long overdue. And so the committee provided a letter of support, thank you, Chair, for, the letter, and that was in the attachments.
Moving right along, Diane, I know that you, Derek, and Carol went out with a number of city staff to look at some of our more challenging intersections.
I drove past you. When you were with Peter, Derek, I was like, there's Derek. When you were at the Care community at Green Northern Avenue, I was turning to go pick up Aiden at the college. I'm like, there's somebody.
But it made an impact, because you were noticed, I felt like, by being a group like that at that intersection,
Yes.
you got recognition.
Yes.
Good.
Yes, there were lots of different people that recognized that there was something going on, because there was people with clipboards and pens and yeah,
You wore the red,
yeah, wore red
Thanks, Derek.
accessible t-shirts.
Yeah.
And the goal of that day, I'll introduce what happened that day, and then Derek and Carol on the phone can give us an overview from their perspective, how things went. But the goal for the day was for planning and engineering staff, and planning and engineering attended with us, and it was fabulous. For them to understand what it's like to have various different kinds of disabilities and using intersections, and what are the gaps, what are the challenges, and how can we do it better moving forward. So it was an education opportunity for staff. And I think it went very well. It was very well received by staff. And probably the very best comment that we could have received, Carol, you'll love this one, I'm sure you've heard me say it, is that it was an eye-opening experience. So, yeah, isn't that great, Carol?
It is, definitely.
All right, so Derek, if you wanna put in your perspective, and then Carol, if you wouldn't mind, since you're able to join us, also, you can give us from your point of view how things went.
Perfect.
Furthermore, I think it brings city staff and us closer. We're not just volunteer and staff, we're a bunch of people that care about the city.
Yeah.
We all care about the city in this room. So we all took time to look at these problems, that how fast does it take a person, or how slow, how fast is a light that changes? So it might not impact us right now, but in future, with all the notes that we took, and we do take a lot of notes, the city's gonna be able to have a better plan for the next, infrastructure. They're gonna be able to say, okay, we gotta do it this way. So it's not one side working with another side, we're joined, it was a community effort here in the city. And I don't know if other municipalities did what we did by taking our city staff out and saying, okay, this is where we have problems. For instance, if I could just give you, a place by, the place there where we were at the school, at that crossing, where it was steep.
That was Old Garden River Road and Second Line.
No, it was, by the school, by
Oh, St. Mary's,
St. Yeah,
yes.
St. Mary's, and it was the, restore Habitat for Humanity.
Oh,
That-
Superior Heights, Superior
Yeah.
Heights.
Yes.
That was steep to go down that. The thing there,
The curb cut.
the curb cut. So the city got to see, okay, how hard is it for a wheelchair to line up and then see that the light changes before we even get rolling.
Yeah, excellent. Was that your biggest teaching moment, Derek, do you find?
I think so, because they need, everybody needs to know it takes a person in a wheelchair or with a walker, cane, crutches. And we need a head start to get going and to be safe.
Yeah. So I think many of the times at the intersections, something that happened is, both Carol, the way that she navigates, and she'll tell you a little bit more about it, Derek and myself, before we've even left the curb, it is changed to the walk to the flashing hand.
Yeah.
And as much as you can explain that to someone, it's entirely different to watch someone experience that. So that was a huge teaching moment for me that I was very happy to be able to share that. Yeah. Anything else, Derek?
I think fun was had by all. We got to know our community leaders a little bit better. That they quite often people see just a wheelchair, and we're not just wheelchairs, we're people.
Yeah.
And we're a group we're a group of individuals that are trying to make the city of CCRE accessible, to the city, so it's not gonna be in my time, but it's gonna be years down the road, because the windows that we took that day, they'll take back and they'll put in their master plans, and so things will be a little while yet, but we're getting there. And with all of us working together, we can all have a better St. Marie. So I would like to thank Diane for allowing me to be a part of it. Carol, I would like to thank you as well, because we opened some eyes, and we opened, even as you said, that you were driving down some of the streets that we went to, and it was nice to see a group of us instead of just one going with all the staff and trying to show them. So thank you, everyone.
Very well said, Derek. Thank you.
Thanks, Derek.
Carol?
Okay. I think it was a great learning and a great teaching experience for myself and for the departments that really did not understand it until they experienced it. And for many years, we've been trying to explain to people what it is like with street crossings when you have vision loss. Derek explained exactly how it is when you have a mobility difficulties crossing the street. I explained it how it is, how difficult it is with vision loss. Yes, their eyes were opened, and that's all we kept on hearing. They couldn't believe how difficult it was. They had absolutely no idea. And by the time we were done, they finally understood. And that is the importance of the AAC here in Sault Ste. Marie, that everyone on the AAC totally 100% understands what it is like to have a disability. You live it, you experience it, you stick together, and you help each other, and you support each other to help life be more easier for people with a disability to be able to access whatever it is you need in order to live the best life that you can. And I am thankful that we have the AAC and support of the people on our AAC here in Sault Ste. Marie, and hopefully now that the city planners, the city engineers, experiences, I'm hoping that now they will finally understand what it is like, and maybe we'll start seeing some changes to the better. I'm done. That's my little spiel for you guys. I'm really happy we did it.
Thanks, Carol. Then can I ask who from city staff was in attendance, do you recall?
Yes, 100%. From planning, it was Peter and Jonathan Kirkle. He's our active transportation guy. From engineering, there was Carl, Maggie, and Dan, as well. Susan Hamilton Beach was there. And that was amazing to have her there as well, because she's looking from the top down with everybody else. And now for her to have an eye towards what a good crossing can look like, or better yet, what a poor crossing looks like.
Yeah.
You know, she can help to direct staff to try to figure out things differently.
Yeah, if I could just add something. I think it'd be important next time as well, and I brought this up, is when we have folks with invisible barriers. So I know for a lot of our folks on the autism spectrum, or if there's another intellectual disability, Down syndrome, as soon as that hand goes up, they go back to the corner. And I know, so it'd be interesting to maybe from Thrive to get like a, either through Amanda with Youth on the Move or something like that, to get some perspective on difficulties of crossing. I've also had that with some international students, because I live on Queen, so a lot of them are going to the university or going to college and taking the bus. And as soon as they see that hand go, they'll even go back too, thinking that they have to go back. And I've brought that up before with Andy Starzomski, that we don't have enough time. So I think there's that other piece, and I think Carol, just to kind of reiterate, holding the city accountable via the AAC. We approved a strategic plan at the last council meeting, and one of the pillars is removing barriers and being more accessible. So maybe at the next agenda, our next meeting, put it on the agenda, that piece, and either have Tom come to speak about it, or even Brett Lamming, as to what they consider that to be in terms of planning. And I think that having our perspective on AAC would be really important. And thanks, Carol.
Thanks.
Sorry, Sandra, go ahead.
To add on to Lisa's point, I know in other communities, which I think we've all seen, is they have a countdown. So instead of a hand, it may be 20 seconds, 19, whatnot. And I'm sure there's guidelines for like the National Accessibility Group to say that hypothetically, maybe it should be 45 seconds, maybe it should be a minute, I don't know. But I would like to see staff look into, switching the hand to, you now have 30 seconds, 29 seconds. So the international students or any gals person with the hand will know, okay, I can continue on because I still have X number of seconds. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, it's my understanding that will be implemented on Queen Street with the new, as well as, I'm pretty sure, I can't be 100% sure, I think that was also going to be going in on Great Northern Road and Northern Ave as well. be implemented at that corner, but just the countdown timers, not changes to the actual structure of the, what's there,
Right.
but I believe they will be added in that area.
So hypothetically, could we, hypothetically pass a resolution to say, by such and such year, we hope that the majority of the city will have a countdown system or something like that?
That would be
Or
great.
hypothetically, we as a committee can continue on, look at more of the priority areas of the city?
Sure. Sure.
Can I have that repeated? Can I have you repeat that?
Sure, sorry. Diane was saying that there are certain intersections that are taking priority where the intersection is going to be somewhat redesigned for better accessibility, where the hand is going to be replaced with like a countdown system to say hypothetically, it's 30 seconds, 29 seconds, 28 seconds, so forth, for the amount of time you have to cross the intersection. So I was saying hypothetically, can the accessibility committee work with city staff to say that we as a committee prioritize other areas that need attention, that need to have intersections changed with the countdown system and intersections altered to be more helpful? And maybe
Okay,
maybe we can do this over a period of 5 years, I don't know, but I'm just throwing that idea out there.
okay, who
Go
am I
ahead.
talking?
And sorry, and if I can add to that, what we're doing with the intersections is so important for everyone in the community, senior citizens, anyone that have, some difficulties. That's all, thank you.
Okay, but the problem with the new lights are, if you're not attuned to the speaker of, it's saying please wait, right? You're not gonna know when to go. Like, you really have to listen for the please wait. And then you have the alarms going off, the cuckoo and all that to get across. What I'm hearing from other people is that it should be where you can hear it from somebody's apartment. But they're not loud enough to hear, like, and the volume needs to be turned up on.
Yes, that was another challenge that we all experienced quite well, is not being able to hear the audible part of the signal. And the please wait part, was implemented in 2 intersections, Great Northern Road, Old Garden River Road, second line, and, the Metro Northern Ave crossing there. Brand new technology with what's called a proximity sensor, so you don't actually have to touch the button. All you have to do is wave your hand or move something in front of the sensor, and it will activate it. The signal says, please wait, as soon as it's activated, but most of us couldn't hear it even though we were sitting or standing right beside it. So that was a challenge, and the volume as well.
And to this day, it's still a problem.
Yes, it still hasn't been
yes,
adjusted.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that means you gotta come and do all 4 sides. I haven't been able to check the other ones because of the way it's set up right now. I can only do 1 lane, maybe 2.
Yeah, there's one part of the crossing Europe isn't able to use in that intersection. But yes, one of many different challenges, and that was a common complaint with the accessible pedestrian signals, is that you couldn't hear them. And many other crossings in Sault Ste. Marie don't have an audible component. So it makes it especially challenging for anyone with vision loss to have a clue where the other side of the road is. Because some of our roads aren't lined up exactly straight. You know, Old Garden River Road, second line is one that's a diamond shape. So you could be really messed up, trying to cross an intersection like that without an audible component. So many concerns.
I don't mean to throw our, counselors like off loop, but we have a noise bylaw after
11.
11. Now, what I heard from Peter is that they've been getting told to turn the chirps down. But we need it up, somebody that is fine needs it turned up, and it needs to go as loud as it goes. So how do we deal with the noise bylaw, people's comfort level because they're sleepy and they don't want to hear the cuckoo all night, but how do we respect the bylaw and keep the people that need it?
As far as I understand, Derek, the only time the cuckoos and chirps comes on, the audible sound comes on is when the button is pushed or it's activated. So if there's no one crossing there at 11 or 12 or 2 o'clock in the morning, there's probably very few people. The signal should be going. So I think that alleviates.
Okay, I just asked because like we're trying to honor a bylaw, but it might be turned out and people might call in and say, well, it needs to be turned down, I can't sleep, so what do we do as?
Yeah, I don't, that shouldn't be, and there's not, like, I think, especially where care community is gonna be, there could be like an apartment that's a unit that's right there. But as Diane said, unless it's pressed, it's not gonna make noise.
Okay.
But some people might complain about it at 8 o'clock at night, so you never know, right? Like it's.
Just so that you guys are aware, we're saying as a community, it needs to be turned up, but you might get a call, counselor wise, to say, oh, that chirp goes on and on for hours, which we are allowed to use it at 8 o'clock at night, but 11 o'clock, everybody should be in their residences usually.
Yeah, I've never gotten a call about an audible signal.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted
Other
to.
things.
Okay, well, no, I just wanted to let you know that we need those turned up to the best quality we can.
If I could make a suggestion as to kind of, where to proceed from here. It sounds like, you know, Derek Carroll and Diane had a great meeting with senior staff. For those of the committee who aren't like sure who everybody is, Susan Hamilton Beach is the person who's in charge of both engineering and public works. And the 2 lieutenants, I guess, if that's the right word.
I love that word.
You like that word?
I like that
I know Carl will like it, Dan will really like it, we're also there. So the person who's in charge of engineering, who reports to Susan, and the person who's in charge of public works, who reports to Susan, we're also in attendance. So you really have all the deep thinkers there.
Yeah.
Maybe not deep thinkers, but the people who certainly can make the right decisions and who are responsible for these things. And I'm just wondering as kind of a follow-up, and I appreciate that this was like, go out and see what's happening here. Let's kind of have, this is a bit of a learning experience for everybody. But I'm wondering if Diane, if you could just follow up with Susan and identify like some of the concerns that we have. And I think it would be great to invite Susan to a future meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought the idea, let's have Tom come to a meeting and talk about our strategic plan, great. But let's have Susan come to this meeting, if she wants to bring Dan and Carl, fine, you know, that's great. But if we're here to, I think Derek has put it really well, you know, we're all here to work together, we're not here to ambush anybody. These are our concerns, just let's remind them that they are important to us, we can improve things. And can we have a discussion about the best way to do this? That makes sense.
Excellent.
Fair enough?
Love it. Very good.
Okay, are we ready to move on? Because before we move on to the last two items under, new business, I think it'd be worthwhile to bring the committee up to speed on what we were talking about with the kayak dock down at the Bellevue Marina.
Yes.
Could you just take a minute to that?
Sure. So as you know, the kayak dock at the Bellevue Marina, we were successful in getting some funds for the updates. The paving for that area has been done. It was done just last week. So there is now a paved corner, which will turn into 2 accessible parking spots with signage and access aisle. And the paved path to the kayak dock is now there and it looks fabulous, absolutely fabulous. The next part will be railings on the ramping that goes to the dock, as well as remediating 3-inch step that exists from the ramp down to the dock. So that will be addressed. The grant is supposed to be finished at the end of November 25th. And I spoke with the gentleman who's likely to be doing the work, and he says that shouldn't be a problem. So I'll keep you posted. Any other news?
And that is also the access that goes out to the Sioux Naturalists or whoever built this viewing area at that point as well, right? So there's a walkway that needs to be protected.
Yes, there is the walkway that was an existing paved pathway to the Sioux Naturalist viewing platform. And the part that was just added, very dark black asphalt, goes from, because there's a slope down to the Naturalist viewing area, and then the new path kind of does a switch back to the dock so that it's a nice gentle grade. There's no steep pitches or anything. So, yeah, we'll keep you posted.
There you go, yeah. Okay, sorry, we just thought that would be interesting for people to know. Snow removal?
Yeah, every year Public Works takes suggestions or requests for snow removal areas. For instance, a lot of street, I shouldn't say a lot of street, some residential areas have sidewalks on both sides, but only one sidewalk is plowed. They try to be efficient with their snow removal priorities. So if anyone has any areas due to accessibility, disability that requires it become a priority, to please let me know, but just keep in mind it has to be something to do with accessibility. So let me know as soon as possible. Go ahead, Carol.
I do have a place, Diane.
Okay.
It's Poplar Avenue, towards the
Poplar
YMCA. Poplar Avenue,
Okay.
the YMCA.
Oh, good one, Carol, because I've gotten calls about the laundromat too in Monterey Gardens, that sidewalk.
What is that?
So there's a sort of like an old strip mall, and there's a laundromat there, that sidewalk being done. Because people are coming down from Housing Court
Okay,
and going down and accessing, I'll get the street for you.
okay.
I'm totally, it's not Brian, it's
right behind the old war houses.
well, it's all in the
Yeah.
wartime area, it's all in Monterey Gardens.
I think it's Curran Drive. I think that's Curran Drive.
Yeah, it's my old neighborhood, I should know. I used to ride my bike to Charlie's Confectionery.
Yeah, right from Charlie's, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
You're not that old, I remember Charlie's.
yeah. But there, so people are going from Housing Court, which is behind the Y, like in that Poplar area, and then Smale, and then going down, but I'll give you the name of the street.
Okay,
And
perfect.
the exact, and the Civic.
That's a really good.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sam.
Actually, ironically, I was talking with Susan, Hamilton Beach, and she's saying October 31st is the absolute deadline, as you probably know.
Right, and that's why I kind of need it now or ASAP,
Yeah,
yes.
can you put Robin Street on?
Okay, is there anything specific about Robin Street?
Basically, there's 5 senior citizens that live on that street. I don't know if that qualifies, but I just throwing that out there.
Okay, 5 seniors, and so
Yeah.
is it the north side, the south side, east, west, is it,
It's like a horseshoe,
okay,
and so when you look at the map of how it works, it's very obvious. It's like a horseshoe.
Isn't there a school there, an elementary school?
What can you do about getting it done properly? Like Pine Street where Food Basics is on the hill, that whole area, the guy just bounces over, up, down.
Yeah.
Leaves great big humps in front of the bus, where the bus stop is. A lot of those apartments, yes, students, and they're hopping over whatever icebergs. And, but there's a lot of seniors there too, trying to hike their groceries over these humps and bumps. And it's all because the person that's doing it just goes like a bat out of hell and doesn't care and leaves this deep. And then this up here, he's got it here. It's a mess. And then it freezes, then it's solid ice.
It is Poplar. Poplar Avenue is where Ginger and me wash and dry is.
Maybe to Diane's point, if Susan does come to one of our future meetings, that could be addressed with her as well.
Yeah, like if the person, they're in a hurry, obviously. And they could put the plow down a little bit.
This
Not
is a
just run
sidewalk
over it.
plow? Diana, this is a sidewalk plow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then to cross the street to catch the bus, you sometimes this high. No icebergs.
yes, it is a challenge for, the sidewalk snowplow folks. A lot will depend upon the condition of the sidewalk underneath. Pine Street, I don't really know how rough it is, but if, you know, there's sidewalks that are uneven, and when they go over an uneven sidewalk, it can be quite a pile of snow. But we can, yeah.
But last year they did great, but we had hardly any snow, so.
Right. Yes.
I thought it was a bonus year.
It was.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do have one more place I want to mention.
Go ahead, Carol.
Only because there's been some people that have mentioned this to me, and they're really not sure who it is that's in charge of this, okay? So the road that is where the bus stop is, where Walmart is, the road that goes to Pino's, okay? There's a bus stop, and the bus drivers have a hard time going around that corner because the road is not plowed, and people have a hard time getting to the bus stop because the sidewalk's not plowed. Now, I heard a couple of different stories because some of the drivers have told me that it's not city property, that it's Walmart's responsibility to do the road and the sidewalk there. So what's the real story on that? Because it's a mess in the wintertime. People are having a hard time walking, and the drivers are having a hard time driving the bus.
Carol, if it's okay, I'll answer that question. That is Walmart. And when we did the lights where Pino's are now, the city actually was gonna go in and do some work on Walmart's property, kind of just to help them move things along. And we were advised by Walmart's lawyers that cannot happen. That they have to hire contractors, and that's one of the reasons that job was delayed, because everybody has to be under contract with Walmart to work on Walmart property. So the city, even though we said we were gonna go in
You can't.
and fix some things up for them, that didn't happen. Now they do, you know, they are responsive to public complaints. So I think there's probably, an opportunity to do something there. But we have to kind of wait until there's a problem and then approach them on it, I think.
Okay.
And,
It's Walmart's property, the city can't do that.
and I
Right.
think if the problem one of the biggest problems is with the transit buses being able to get around because of snow. I think perhaps a concern should come from transit to Walmart on that. If there's pedestrians, they should also be, that are having trouble, they should also be complaining to Walmart on it.
That is an excellent idea, to have transit, coming.
Yeah.
Because we have talked about.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Okay, because this was transit drivers that were telling me this, and I went into Walmart myself and asked them. And they told me, yeah, they're responsible for it.
okay.
So,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
even
it's-
it's very difficult to, you know, if they don't do it, you know, it's, anyway, it was just something that was brought to my attention a few times.
No, I think that's a really good point, Carol. Walmart does a brilliant business, they can afford to, you know, clean the sidewalk.
Slightly, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, any other comments on snow removal? If you think of anything, feel free to contact Diane, because, you know, as Sandra pointed out, we have a limited amount of time to get something into, Public Works on this. Darren?
Diane, through to you, Mr. Chair, just note on, like, it depends what, time of day it is. If it's, later on in the afternoon, around the metro, like, on the, where the pine wash used to be,
Yeah,
in that section, sometimes the plow, when it comes by, it leaves a trail of snow. So when somebody has to stop, try to reach, try to line up, it doesn't. I rarely go outside though, and with my chair, I used to go outside a lot. I don't go very often, but people are trying to get across to Metro, and it's not easy if they have to step over a gate or whatever, so if we can try to put that on the priority list, there's a lot of seniors disabled that go.
good one.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I have one bus shelter, concern. And it is the bus shelter where the old Safeway building used to be on Great Northern. I think the call center was there for a while. So, the windows, yeah, the glass on that shelter, I think there's only one pane of glass left on it. So the bus shelter, when you're in it, there's no protection from the rain or wind at all now. So I'm wondering if they're planning on replacing the broken glass that was in there.
How long has that been there, Carol?
Oh, what was that?
How long has the glass been broken in there?
Well, the glass is missing. Like, there's not broken pieces there, it's missing.
Right,
So
it's
it's been a
missing,
while.
so,
Yeah, it's been a while. 2 months.
like months, like a year?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I don't think it's been that long. It's been,
Okay,
it's been a few months. Yeah. Been all summer anyway.
We'll bring that up with transit, because they, you know, they should be able to replace those glass.
Yeah, because the angle that the shelter's on, you've got no protection at all.
got it.
Okay. Moving right along, we're changing our January meeting.
We are, January 8th, January 6th is when, everybody, the Christmas holidays is over. And the 8th is 2 days later, so, I'm requesting to move or delay our January meeting until January 15th. So, it'll be noted in the minutes, of course, but if everybody can maybe mark that on their calendar, and I'll also, you know, when I send out the agendas, we'll be talking about that in December, about our next meeting in January. But if you can take a look at your calendars and mark that down, that'd be great. 15.
We'll go right ahead.
Okay. I do a lot of talking at these meetings, my goodness, I guess it's because I'm relaying a lot of information.
No, it's your most interesting person.
I hardly think that's true. We're doing a public consultation open house through the accessibility legislation. There is a requirement for the city to do at least one open house public consultation. So that's gonna be on October 30th from 3 to 6 p.m. at the Accessibility Center. Transit will be there and Parks will be there and I will be there. So it is an opportunity for people to give their feedback on any accessibility issues, any barriers they've encountered in the community. In particular, there are some things that the city must consult with the public on. So one of them is the accessibility plan and the effectiveness of the accessibility plan. Another one, say for instance, is bus stops and shelters that transit must consult on. Parks is supposed to be consulting on the design of playgrounds and playground equipment. So there are some requirements, so there will be some specific questions. Thanks, Samira. Sorry. So there will be some specific things that we're looking for feedback on, but we also accept feedback from the community on anything accessibility and barrier related.
Can we ask Public Works and Engineering to do that? We did it as Dan and Carl.
Where is the accessibility center?
That's where we always have our meetings.
Oh, it's on-
Yeah, the John Road. Yes, yes.
And I'm sure since like Peter's up here, that Samir can pass this along, and if you wanted some posters or something put up, like some displays,
Yes.
that they have people who are very competent at doing those things.
That would be great.
I do need to leave at 2:30, only because a certain kid's car is finally ready, his first car, so we have to pick up.
Ooh, that's pretty exciting.
Well, I don't know, I think it's more exciting for Lou's Automotive because it's been there for quite a while.
Can I have the date and time again, please?
October 30th, 3 to 6 p.m. So even if when Lisa leaves, we still have to.
So moving to old business.
Yes.
Can I say, Carol, that I really appreciated, I think everyone did, really appreciated your comments at the last meeting. It has not fallen on deaf ears. And I'm gonna turn this over to Diane to kind of explain where we're at on this.
Yeah, so.
Okay, thank you.
At our last meeting, Carol did an impromptu, well, it was impromptu to us, it wasn't to her, she was well prepared for it. Did a presentation on some of the barriers that she's encountered and how it just seems like there's no progress on it, on some of them anyways. And she had a lot of questions and concerns. So I've spoken with Peter on this, like, how do we address this? So I will be consulting with the city staff that are responsible for the items that Carol brought forward. And I'll be bringing feedback or responses from their departments to the committee at the next meeting. So Carol, when you're there in person, we'll have feedback for you on all of your concerns, okay?
Great, thank you.
No problem.
Did you want to talk about our video remote interpreter?
Yes, this is so exciting. This has been in the works for, I don't know, like 5 years, maybe even more. I think it was started before COVID. So the video remote interpreter for the VRI service, tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, I'll be at the Civic Center lobby. We've got the equipment, it's been purchased and ready to go. And we'll be doing a test with VRI. Our IT staff will be there as well. And then once we've done the test and we know everything is up and running and we've got all of our account information set to go, that will go live and be available for anyone, for any department in the Civic Center as the trial. For someone who is deaf and requires ASL interpreter, it's an ASL, not quite on demand, because it's not push the button and someone's there. It might be a couple of minutes before someone is available, but it'll be a new customer service experience for citizens of Sault Ste. Marie. And then depending upon how that's received, if and how often it's used, we'd like to roll that out to various different customer service areas within the corporation. So tomorrow morning will be
Diane.
time. Yes?
Diane, before you go further, could you say what the acronyms are for the people that don't know?
Yes, I did say that, Carol, and I'm sorry if it didn't come out clear. So it's
Okay, yeah.
the service is VRI, that's the acronym, and it stands for Video Remote Interpreter.
Okay, I can hear it now. Okay.
Yes, and Dave Hatchning covered that very nicely as well.
Did they
Okay.
clear if you still have to book an appointment in order to have that VRI service?
No. If you were doing a meeting or something, if we were doing a meeting here and we want a remote interpreter, yes, that would be best to book it. It is for on-demand, short interactions, customer service interactions, not so much for meetings. It's a 5-minute conversation. Can you tell me where I find a book on do-it-yourself house renovations? Or how much does it cost to go for a swim at the pool? It's meant for those short things, so it may not be instant because they do have a bank of interpreters, ASL interpreters, across, I think, Canada. And it may take a little while to find one that's available, has their green light, and they can dispatch that person. So very excited about that. Yeah. So we'll try that tomorrow morning, and then at the next meeting, hopefully we will have launched it, it will have gone live, and I can let you know how that all works. Yeah.
Now, this is something that, or actually, I don't know if this is a question for Carrie or Diane. So is this something that someone with vision loss can feel as you are explaining it so we know how it works?
If you were live at the Civic Center with us, you would be able to feel it. But
Okay.
I can describe what the equipment looks like. So it's an iPad that will be on a stand. It'll be on a movable stand so that it can go to various different departments in the corporation. And it'll be powered by a USB device because there isn't very reliable Wi-Fi in the Civic Center. So we're actually buying a data package with a USB device, So they can go to any department anywhere in the civic center. I guess ideally it could go anywhere. And if someone who is deaf, uppercase D, deaf, uses, American Sign Language interpreter, would present at customer service. The iPad with VRI will be sitting there. There will be a press release, hopefully, people who are deaf will know that it's available, but it will be sitting there and there'll be a sign that says VRI, and they just have to motion that they need VRI. And then the receptionist will then be able to activate it to call an ASL interpreter. And the person who is deaf will be looking at the iPad and will assign to the iPad the question, the comment, the concern that they're there for. And then the ASL interpreter on the iPad will then speak the question, comment, or concern to the receptionist. And then the receptionist can answer, and the ASL will then be able to relay that via ASL to the person who is deaf. So it's a means of communication, and thank you for asking that question, because not everybody would have a clue what video remote interpreter meant.
Right.
Just so that I understand this correctly though, so for someone to use this, they have to come into the building.
Yes, it is meant for a person-to-person customer service experience.
Video to person.
Yes, well, right,
Well,
Okay.
because it is different for the deaf community to speak to a live person versus the iPad. It does provide some barriers being, using an interpreter on an iPad. However, that is the way that the world is going, unfortunately, not really, fully providing the accessibility needs of the person that is deaf, but that, it's another alternative to not having a live interpreter.
I should know the answer to this, but I don't. So if someone's sitting at home and they say, I have a question for, about a building permit, I need to talk to somebody in the building. How does that work? Like, how do they have to come down to City Hall, basically?
So before it would have been a TTY,
Yeah,
most do not use a TTY any longer, they just use their phones and text, which is
Yeah.
great. So they can text to agencies or places that can text back, but that's not everybody either. So, email is another form of
Okay.
asking questions as well. Or an interpreter.
what about Bell Relay?
Yeah, you can use Bell Relay, that's, for when the person is using a TTY and the other person on the other end does not have a TTY. It's just that most people are not using the TTY at all anymore.
Sarah?
In Sault Ste. Marie, are there actual interpreters?
There are two official ASL interpreters. One works for CHS, one is a freelance.
Okay.
I don't know if there are any others. Carrie, do you know?
No, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay,
Hypothetically, if someone knows that they want to go down to City Hall in the future, could they get City Hall to book one of these interpreters to meet them for a special meeting?
absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely.
and, I'm getting into the weeds, but is that part of the training manual for staff, city staff,
It
and
will be,
orientation?
it will be.
Okay, including this iPad?
Yes, we'll do the trial, the test tomorrow,
Yeah,
and then from there, the reception staff will be trained on its use.
okay,
And then from there, when someone comes down to use the equipment with someone who is deaf, because maybe they showed up in person and want to talk about a building permit, the receptionist will then be able to say to Carl or to Maggie,
mhm,
this is how you use it, and we'll set it up in whatever area works for you.
okay.
Yes.
So then will they be using well, what are they using, or what should we be using going forward for meetings, even such as this, that's being live on YouTube, but we don't have an interpreter?
We don't have an interpreter because our sound has been so
bad.
But
terrible.
there's no sound.
But the interpreter, any interpreter.
Live though?
We could do live. I don't think that's effective though, to communicate to people at home who may be watching from home or who want to watch in the future. Because if you look on the camera, right now our view is a little bit different, but it may not be able to effectively capture, because the ASL interpreter is going to be one of many in the room.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm not positive about this, I think the most effective way to use ASL is on Zoom, where their ASL interpretation can be pegged so that it's a larger view, and then the rest of us are smaller, because what we're doing doesn't matter as much because we've got the verbal communication. But for people who use the ASL, they need to be able to see it a little bit larger. Once we have our sound worked out, and I'm not sure how this is really gonna sound when we hear the recording, it's still a bit echoey. Once we've got that, then I would love to get ASL back for regular meetings. Yes.
Okay, any other questions, comments, thoughts? Well, if that's the case, and it says that we have no site plan subcommittee report, but your question? Okay, I was gonna say that Derek, Diane, and myself went out to Strathclyde Field.
Yes,
Sinclair Field.
Sinclair Fields, we went out to
Sinclair-
some fields.
And it wasn't even a field, it's Sinclair Yard.
Sinclair Yard. Oh,
Yes.
Okay,
It's like a field, not a yard.
yeah, you know what, this is tough.
so anyways, we had a little time, we met with this nice person,
Pat.
Pat, Pat, and who was his other?
Graham Newman was the elderly gentleman.
Yes.
Right.
Graham Newman, who was the wealth of knowledge of the. Okay, so anyways, we went out there and we looked at the, Strathclyde Park,
Sinclair Yard.
Sinclair, no, sorry.
Well, Derek and I are gonna call it Strathclyde.
They're gonna put a name change for it.
Yeah.
Anyways, we sat and we talked about the washroom and what they need to do with the washroom. And, it was pretty neat to actually see that they were thinking of doing different fields, but we have to put the washrooms, or they have to, but with our help. They have to get the wheelchair, washrooms wheelchair accessible before they can move to the next part. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dawn, though. Is that the truth, or am I just dreaming that?
No, you've got it, basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're looking at basically, Dan, I think it's a two-part program. The first part, and then their top priority is to get the accessible washroom built. And I was astounded there by how big the building was. I mean, they certainly have lots of room in there.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they're hoping to receive a grant on that. We had committed to
$6,000.
$6,000. Is that approved by council?
It was.
It was,
Yes.
perfect.
So it's sitting there in a holding pattern, waiting for their project to proceed.
And they really see putting accessible washrooms in as the first step. And they're probably right, if they can't do that, why bother to move ahead? But the game plan is, I'm sorry, Derek, I just kind of jumped in here.
No problem.
The game plan is eventually to put in an AstroTurf field. And that is the accessible field, and they have done it elsewhere. Windsor was a big example that they were using, as somebody who's done it in other communities. That Sudbury has an AstroTurf field as well now, which just makes it work from an accessibility viewpoint for so many other people. Go ahead, Nick. There you go.
No. No, I think it was a very good tour, both with Graham and with Pat. Graham is the historian of the Sioux Minor baseball. He knows everything, absolutely everything. And Pat is the somewhat newly retired enthusiast for Sioux Minor baseball. Yes.
The reason Graham knows everything is because Graham built everything.
Oh,
That's
wow.
why. In Newman Construction, that was Graham. So he has an amazing network of friends, where he calls and things happen. It's a great system. Only Graham can do that.
Yeah.
And can I make a comment of that? Oh my God, that is the most wonderful thing to see when you go out there and you see a big, gigantic baseball.
Yes, and I think it's got the Canadian record for the largest baseball in Canada.
Yes.
Yes.
So you, anybody at home, they could go on, Google Earth, and said it's in Google Earth. That's how popular it is.
And it was donated. Like it was actually used for something else, and the guy said, well, rather than throw this out, I'll give it to Graham. Graham, his guys, sand it all down, round it all out, put an anchor on the thing, paint it, and that's how it got there. So that's very positive. Before we adjourn, sorry, yes, Sandra, go ahead. Sorry. You have to remind me 3 times, you know that. That's only
I can,
first.
I can do
Okay.
Question, for Diane. Diane, I'm sure I know the answer, but I just want to confirm. The emergency management plan for the city, I know that you've been part of that, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, in a couple of different ways. One of the things that will be done in the future that came about as a result of COVID shutdowns with literally everything is that people who are deaf and rely on other means of communication were cut off from the world. They had a very difficult time receiving information about COVID, and afterwards, one of the takeaways from that is that when any emergency information comes out from the city, is that ASL will be used. And it will be part of a video like you see quite often in the States. You see that through emergency management. But there will be an ASL interpreter available as well to be able to provide emergency information. And I think Lauren and I have done some meetings with the deaf community. And Lauren has taken away some information from those meetings. And she's also got another task group going on, which I missed the first one because I think I was away for something.
We had a meeting yesterday,
Excellent.
and so the emergency group got together, and she updated us on the emergency plan. Then it got me thinking that she gave examples such as if the electricity went out and a large portion of people had to be evacuated or moved, Sierra Hospital could be moved or used or other centers. So then I was thinking, if a large population had to be moved elsewhere, is there a designated area in Sault Ste. Marie that is conducive to those with accessibility disabilities? Like, should we have a designated area, like a muster station? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think most emergency management plans are a little bit fluid. because it depends upon what the emergency
Sure.
is and who it affects.
True.
I know in the past, I don't know if it is still part of the plan, I suspect it is John Rhodes is one of the emergency centers because there's a large gathering space capacity there. I think that is also capacity that Lauren is trying to build by coordinating with who should be involved, who are contact
Yeah.
for, people with mental health, who are contacts for, people with mobility disabilities, who are contacts for, any other vulnerable population in the city. And I think that is a new piece that is being worked on.
Okay, and obviously you're part of all that, so that's all I want to know.
Yeah, it's excellent. It's a great collaboration and it's something that's very important, has to happen.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Just before we move on, does anyone have any comment, on this, using this room? Diane is gonna go back and look at the tape, because then we'll get a better sense as how's the video and audio working. We'll be able to tell from that, but, good, bad, indifferent.
The air is flowing. The air is flowing.
The air is,
The air is moving.
that's usually good, is that good? All right.
In the other room, the air doesn't move.
It feels fairly stagnant.
Yes, it feels very stagnant, and as a woman of a certain age, you might start sweating a lot, you can do that, comfortable, here you can feel the air moving around.
Better air circulation.
Other thoughts, Derek?
What if we were to get a computer that Diane can use, rather than using her personal, or is that a city laptop?
It is a city laptop.
Okay,
Yes.
can you get the information that you need to do a live stream? So you don't have to go through what we went through today.
Absolutely. What I'll have to do is bring my laptop to City Hall and have Zoe in the same room with me. And it's a security thing so that nobody abuses. It's an extra piece of security.
Yeah,
Once
no,
we've done it once.
but no, once you get it all hooked up, then we should be good to go.
Exactly. Once we've done it once together in the same room, I don't think it's gonna be a security issue, because it wasn't a security issue on my desktop from the office.
Now, what about these, overhead projectors, like, what do we have to do if we need to use that?
Can you explain that a little bit more, Derek? I'm not sure what you mean.
There's a projector up there.
Yeah,
If we were to access them, what do we need to do?
exactly what we did this time. Which is, we come in and they set it up for us. I'm still not quite following what you mean.
Like, what, like, for you to, do you have to, like, how long does it take to set up for
Probably about a half an hour. We had to bring our owl from the office. IT was here with us earlier. They grabbed the owl from our office and they set it up for us. And now that I've seen it done once, the gentleman here who helped set up the tables and such can help me set up everything else. It's not a big deal at all. How do you find the space, Derek?
I find the space okay, but we can't lock that door. Because if somebody needs to come in and they're part of the meeting, all you're hearing is, knock, knock, knock. So we can't have the doors locked.
Yeah, I think it's locked from the outside. This door here is not locked. And it's only to come back in. Yes, we can have that unlocked for future meetings, Derek.
Okay, so
Good
there's,
point.
we go live, and we're gonna have somebody knocking, we're live, and we're gonna.
Yeah, we can have that unlocked.
Other thoughts?
Do the benefits outweigh the amount of extra work it takes you, Diane?
It will depend upon the quality.
Right.
I can tell you the visual quality of the meetings isn't as good because it's a projector rather than the television, but maybe that will look different on the recording. I'm hoping the sound is better, and if it is, then we're ready to have an ASL interpreter join us again for meetings.
What's the difference if we're using the same, amplifier? And to me, the room is bigger, which would make the acoustics worse, so I'm just wondering why it's better here, or why it might be better here with the same device.
I think part of it is this wall here has something that softens that whole wall, the pull down things. IT also mentioned that this space right above us here is just dropped down a little bit, so it just gives a different, different acoustic feel to it. Otherwise, the room is very empty, and I still find it to be echoey a little bit. So I don't know what the sound is gonna be. The captioning on the video looks like it's fairly accurate. But we'll see what the sound is like.
Is it better if the source is closer to the people speaking? Because we can close in just slightly
We could.
and bring that forward.
And there's actually another one, there's two, the owls are designed to work as a pair, they only have one ear. But like we use this system out on public health as well, and it's exactly the same little guy, but he has a friend. And they're a couple of feet apart, about this far apart, right, and it works great, so that's, and we have the second one as well. The IT guy's just been bringing it.
Yeah,
But I agree, like, the issue is, this room, I like this room, it's a big room, it's a little less convenient for some people distance-wise traveling, I get that. But the sound, I think, is the big thing.
I like it because the chairs are softer.
oh,
Those chairs at the other place for me is brutal, like I
Very.
barely make it through the last 15, 20 minutes, it's like,
oh my goodness, Diana.
no, it's okay, next time I'm gonna bring a pillow with it and get back on there.
I can make arrangements to get something else.
But these are, softer, they give a bit, they're not like that hard plastic where you're.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Good point, I never even thought of that.
Just that when you come into an entranceway, there is some plants that are Ricky side are actuators.
Oh, dear?
The doors over there.
Oh, okay.
Oh. So, oh, okay.
Is it blocking?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I'll,
That's an easy place.
yeah.
Good catch, though.
No.
Other thoughts? If none, can we have a motion to adjourn? Yes. And Sam.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And happy holidays.
Yeah.
Happy Remembrance.